Come on. What's going on?
Yeah.
It's still buffling. Why are you buffling?
What we doing now, man?
Yeah, if you don't.
Good evening, everybody. This is your host, Huge Pop, wherever I'm at. I'm in here breaking news from. Hey, there I am. Good evening, everybody. This is Huge Pop from the Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. Our guest tonight has been in the wrestling business since 2011. He held tag team titles during his in ring time. In 2018, he ended his in ring action. Our guest is the current owner promoter of FWE Florida Wrestling Empire. Please welcome to the HPWP Eddie Page, aka Tyler Nimmons. How you doing, my friend?
Hello. How we doing? How we doing?
Pretty good, my guy. Hope I didn't butcher that too bad, but glad to have you on the show. Glad to be connected with another Florida independent wrestling organization. We're going to talk everything your career as a fan, your career as a promoter, what's coming up for FWE, what the Florida indie scene looks like, and whatever else you want to talk about. That's what we're going to do for the next hour. So if we're ready, I'm ready.
Let's go.
All right, man. So of course we all grew up. If we're in the business, we probably grew up wrestling fans. So I guess my first question is, what was it like as a kid growing up as a wrestling fan, and through to the point that you said, I'm doing this for a career?
For me, wrestling's it's like kind of a special thing for me because thank the Lord she's still here with us. But I started watching wrestling with my grandmother. And I remember the very first wrestling match that I can remember was Chris Benoit versus Eddie Guerrero, WCW. Like, I'm thinking like 95.
Okay.
And I just really remember it. I remember some of the athletic things they were doing, and it just caught me. And then I got a hold of WWF at the time, and I seen Razor Ramon, and that was it.
All right.
That was the guy that yeah.
Okay. Now, is there a favorite match you remember growing up as a kid? Going, oh my god, I got to watch that over and over again.
As a kid, this is completely different. But I remember being a kid, seeing. I don't remember the pay-per-view, but it was for the Intercontinental title, Rikishi versus Val Venus in a cage match.
Yeah.
And it's so different, but I remember it because I remember the first time I seen it.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh my, Rikishi jumped off the top of the cage.
Right.
So for me, that was like the Jimmy Fly Snuka moment for me as a kid.
Yeah.
So I remember it a lot. And very, very random match, but I remember that as a kid.
Right. I mean, what escalated for me was, I grew up as a kid watching many stuff, Saturday Night's Main Event, all those good stuff, hearing about the pay-per-views. But when Hogan came down and leg dropped Macho Man Randy Savage and Jordan did the NWO, I was hooked again. It's just those things you remember.
When I seen that, I honestly, for the longest time, had no idea there was a red and yellow Hogan. I always remembered Hollywood Hogan. Only knew him as that. That's as I think about back on my childhood. For the longest time, Hollywood Hogan was all I knew.
Yeah.
And then when he came back to WWE, and he was the NWO, and then he switched to the red and yellow, and they started playing the packages, I was like, that's Hollywood?
Yeah.
It didn't click. It didn't click when I was a kid.
Right, right. So, did you watch much WCW?
I was about 50-50 when I was younger. I was.
Okay.
I watched them both.
So I'm going to ask this question. Hopefully, I don't mess it up. But who is the greatest WCW champion of all times?
Greatest WCW champion? It would have to be Hollywood.
No, man. David Arquette.
Oh my gosh. That's like the biggest botch in wrestling history. Like, come on, man.
I'm just messing with
The people who wrote it regret it.
you.
Like, come
Probably do.
on.
Probably.
Yeah.
Um, but I had to ask that, man. So, um, okay. So went through wrestling, watching wrestling as a fan, blah, blah, blah. When was it? What happened in your life that said, this is what I want to do? I'm going to wrestle.
I mean, if you just go back to like being younger, like 10, 11 with my friends, you do your little living room wrestling matches together and stuff like that. And I remember playing this character and being like, I really like this. I really do. And then through school, I did a lot of drama classes. And then as I was growing up, I was like, well, wait, like this would work, like in wrestling. And there was a 2009 Tatanka Covey Pro, West Virginia, put out Come and Learn How to Wrestle. And I remember I seen it, I got up, and I went.
Nice, nice, nice. So I know we don't talk much about this, but does it cost a lot to get into a school to wrestle?
Absolutely. It's one of those things. I think like any trade you want to learn. Even if you go to college to learn, that costs a lot of money. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing. You're learning another trade, really.
Is it worth it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because I think if it wasn't worth it, you would know it within your first week of training.
Okay.
You would say, this is a lot more than I bargained for.
So in much your training, who was your influence? Who had the biggest impact on your career going forward?
In my oh my gosh. I mean, my trainers, I started off with Tatanka, and then I finished up with Wildman Robbie Page in West Virginia and did a lot of extensive training there. But I remember in 2015, I wrestled Rhino one on one. And I remember planning the match. And when you wrestle a lot of people and you tell them your ideas, they say, no, 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 that's not going to work. No. Rhino would say, I like your idea, but here's why it doesn't make sense. And so many things that he said in just the planning of the match, I came out of that match a completely different wrestler. Completely. I don't even like my matches before that
Oh,
because he just made me understand wrestling so much and is in the way he approached putting something together.
right, right. So we have Rhino as a legend telling you that, hey, man, I like it, but
Yeah, I
let's
like it,
fix
but
this.
instead of that way, let's do it this way. And just different things like that. I remember being in the middle of the ring mid match and I have him down in the headlock and we're getting up and we're getting up. Like I'm trying to get up and he's like, no, get back down. And I'm like, I'm talking to him, we're selling. I'm like, why? And he said, do you hear them? And I just listen. And the crowd is going crazy. So I'm like, why are we going to cut this short? Let them
Right.
have their moment. Like he just made too much.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it right now, like to this day.
yeah, I bet. So that leads me to this question: is you're a promoter, you got backstage, you got talent, you probably bring legends in, whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
How important is it to pay attention and listen to those guys and what they
Mhm.
say? We have audio difficulties, I think. There
Are
you
we
are.
back? There we are. That was wild.
That was wild. So I don't know if you heard my question. So as a promoter and as a in the past a in ring talent, there you see many probably legends come in and out of promotions to
Oh.
help to hype the show, and then they talk to you guys in the back, or they talk to your guys that you from FWE. How important is it to that for those youngsters to shut their mouths and pay attention to what those guys say?
You know, there's so many seminars and things that you pay for a lot of times to go to. And I don't understand why someone would take their time and spend their money and not use what someone who obviously has done this before and made it to big places.
Right.
I never it's called it's humbling yourself. So I think it's very important that someone that has made it to the biggest stages that there are, even if they didn't make it all the way to the top, even if they were just doing the Saturday morning show, that's higher than what you made it, and there's something they did that got them there. I think you should listen.
Yeah. Now, do you relate? Do you express that to your talent in your locker room?
You know, I would say I think my talent, for the most part, all have a good head on their shoulders to where I don't even need to explain to them what's the important parts.
Okay.
They know. Like the moments I just went to another show and listened to them tell them, and like I some of my guys are on this show, and I just looked at them and listened to the questions that they ask, and I'm like, they care. And I think that's what the difference is. Do you care or not? And they
Absolutely.
care.
Absolutely. So, can you remember your first ever match and what it felt like going through that curtain, getting in that ring, the
Oh my.
fans, all those interactions?
That was probably 2010, SWA, Greencastle, Pennsylvania. And I actually worked one of my friends who started training when I did. And then someone that kind of Cali kid, he kind of took us under his wing when we were coming up. And I remember I thought I was getting ready to put on a classic. I was about to wow the world. And I get in there, I had no idea what I was doing.
Ugh.
Like, I won't even watch it because I had no idea. I thought I did. I had no idea. You got to think this is 6 years, like 5, 6 years before I run into Rhino. So there's a lot of time there. I thought
Yeah. So, what would you call your career highlight? What match, the Rhino match, I would suppose, would be your highlight of your career?
honestly, I was in a tag team called the Wild Cards. So
Yes.
I started off from the very beginning in a tag team. And I would have to say for us, our biggest moment was working Bullet Club, Luke Gallows and Tomatonga.
Okay.
That was that was that was something you never think that you're going to do. Like work someone that is currently hot. This is years ago, and they're coming from Japan to work us. Like so, you don't think those type of things are going to happen. And it was an incredible moment. I'll have that forever.
Awesome, man. Mr. Bianco, good evening, guys. Good evening to you, man. Appreciate you coming in. Um, so if there's any advice that you would have as a wrestler to people up and coming into wanting to get into business, what would that be?
Never stop training. And what I mean by that is, when you get your certifications, when you work these certain matches and certain people, you feel like, oh, I made it. But you could never do enough. You can never train enough. You can never get enough reps. Did Kobe Bryant stop shooting in the gym? You see, it's the same thing. Just like basketball players who are phenomenal and can beat any of us on any day, don't stop practicing. Why do we?
Right, absolutely. I get that. Yeah. So you named Rhino, the Bullet Club. What other big stage names have you rubbed elbows with, and do you still keep in contact with those guys and say, "Hey, man, I got this going on. What do you think?"
I've worked on the same shows. A lot of guys that are currently on top, like
Yep,
Swerve
yep,
Strickland. I was in the locker room with him when he was a guy trying to get a chance, like the rest of us. I've been in the locker room with a lot of people, but to actually work with Rhino, Bullet Club, Val Venus, Hurricane Helms, Shane Douglas. I mean, honestly, I got to work more names than I ever thought I would, because all these names that I'm listing, I watched on television, and I
right,
remember the Val Venus match. We didn't really talk much, but him and I were in the ring, and he started doing this. He started doing these punches, and I was like, oh, he's going into his thing. I just knew it from watching him, and we went into his whole offense, like without saying anything, because I just knew it from watching him all the time.
right, yeah,
So, like, definitely, being in the locker room I was very special moment. I was in the same locker room with Ric Flair and Terry Funk, and to just sit there and listen to them tell stories,
right.
that's worth it enough. If they said, hey, your match is pulled, I'd have said, that's fine, I'll sit back here with these guys. Like, it was phenomenal.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show, Rico. Thank you for coming on, my man.
What's going on, man? Sorry about the lateness, fellas.
All right, Apple Bobby's Eddie Page, aka Mr. Nimmons, Tyler Nimmons. He's a promoter of FWE Florida Wrestling Entertainment.
Empire.
I'm sorry, Empire. My bad.
Empire.
I
You're
knew.
good.
Got to correct them on that. Don't let them
There,
slip on that
there's
stuff.
there's people out here with that. I don't want that to be us.
Empire, Florida Wrestling Empire. Sorry.
Yes.
But yeah, we're just talking about what his career was like, who he hung out with, or who he got a chance to go against in when he was doing his wrestling. So yeah. So are there any guys out there that you just can't stand to wrestle against? I know that's a hard question. I know you probably don't want to throw anybody out there, but I have to ask that.
Maybe if you asked me this question some years ago, I might have said it. But now I've just, I've buried a lot of hatchets since my retirement. So let's just leave it there.
All right.
I'll leave it there because you never know who I'm going to get to try to work here, and I don't want them to say, "Man, that guy will run you down." Like I don't want that to be me. So
No, I knew. See, I knew ahead of time that was your answer.
they're in here. They're in here, but they
There's a
don't
smart
come out.
man. There's a smart man. Nicholas Bick comes in and says, "Hey, what's up?" Like this guy right here. Is he one of those guys?
Nicholas Vick can't stand the guy. No, I absolutely like. He's another Florida promoter down here. I absolutely respect Nicholas Vick. Love him. Everything he does. Big supporter of FWE. So it's always love with us.
Great. Yep, he's a good guy, man. Rico, you got any questions so far?
Oh man, so well, I guess I don't know what was asked, but do you currently watch any of the other promotions right now?
I watch WWE. I've been telling people recently I'm a big WWE guy. Like I don't like anything else really. I did years ago. I was in the TNA when Christopher Daniels, AJ, Samoa, like when they were all there. But now I just think WWE is the best thing going. So like everything else I just don't really like it. And this is not shade to them. I just don't watch it, so I don't have anything negative to say. I just allow them to
Gotcha.
do what they're doing, and I will sit here and say WWE rules all. That is all.
So okay, that my second part of that question is here in 2 weeks. Are you going to be putting the one up, or someone going to be finishing their story?
Listen, I'm hoping I got my one up because that story is not one I want to finish.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, we argue about that because I think Cody's going to finish it.
I was listening to Bully Ray tonight, but I was listening to Busted Open with Bully Ray, and he said it. Why do we want this story to finish? It is gold.
Why?
I mean,
Why?
you just now bring the Rock in, and you're gonna let him do his thing, which he is money. You're gonna do his thing for 3 weeks, and then you're gonna say goodbye. No, it can't. It's got to go further. So that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I think WWE's in a place right now where you don't know. You just don't know. But if you ever look on the internet, you will see people say, I don't like it right now because I'm a little confused. Good. That means you can't predict it. So that I think that's the best wrestling that there is when you're really like, I'm not sure.
Exactly. We've talked about it before, a huge pot where it's like nowadays you get these spoilers, these leaks out and to what's going to happen. It's not like back in the day where when it happened, you're like, what? You know,
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar defeating the Streak. Nobody saw that happening.
No one's seen that. Like, come on.
No.
No one's seen
What?
that. No, I remember watching with my wife and my friends and the 3 hit and like the entire room got silent. And I remember just looking and I was like, did that really just happen? And I remember I stood up and I was going off. I was like, I'm not watching anymore. I'm done. This is garbage. Like, and I'm not that type of fan. But I
Right.
was so I feel like that was a part of my childhood. Like the Undertaker's undefeated, and you guys just took that from me, and so I was upset. But that's what wrestling does to you, though. Like that's why I love wrestling. I can't sit here and watch anything else. It makes me feel like that.
Right. Absolutely.
So
Exactly.
So talk to us about your finisher, the cut the deck. What's that like?
cut the deck. It was a cutter. When I grew up, if you see Eddie Page, I was real big into Diamond Dallas Page. And that diamond cutter. So I took it and I ran with it. Of course, Randy and the RKO, he really made it into something else. But even back when the old wrestling games, my character's finisher was always the cutter. And I remember when I first started training with Robbie Page, I used something else as my finisher. And I remember one day during a match, I just hit the cutter and like mid match, they're like, whoa. And I'm like, what? They're like, that was really good. They're like, that's your new finish. And I'm like, okay. And it stuck. It stuck. Cut the deck. I was the wild card. So we did a lot of card stuff, bet on us. That's how the cards are dealt,
Okay.
different
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Sorry. I was so if you had any matches where you really seriously thought you just injured yourself, like you actually freaking out, like I think I really
And
just
I
hurt myself.
wasn't injured.
Yes.
Probably ladder match versus Bodie Williams. Whenever he took me off the top of the ladder and I was supposed to land on the ladder and I went through the ladder. Yeah, I thought I was hurt really. I mean, my back was hurt. It was, but I thought I was a lot more hurt. I thought it was going to be like ER time, but it was all good. Adrenaline is a crazy thing. You
Yeah.
can do a lot of things through adrenaline.
Because you say that, I was just seeing something earlier. If you remember the Taker and the Michaels casket match when he hurt his
I
back.
just watched that. Yeah, where he ruptured his disc and he still
Yep.
finished it. And I just said to my wife, we watched it, and I was like, adrenaline is a hell of a thing. Like,
Keeps
you
you
can do a
going.
lot of things.
Absolutely. So I'm always a WCW, AEW, WWE. I'm a wrestling fan throughout. I had the opportunity to go watch a indie show here in the Panhandle of Florida, XIW, with Jackson Slade, Damian Wayne, Wardell Walker, those guys, and I didn't realize how real it really is. You guys in the indie circuit put on a hell of a show, and it makes the fans feel so invested, so like, oh my god, like because the punches are right there, right next to you. So for me, that answered the question of, is this fake? So what is the common misconception wrestling being fake? What's that mean to you? Can you talk about that?
Gosh, I hate that word because it's like Fake means it's not real at all. And that can't be true whenever I've had my nose broken, my shoulder separated, my Achilles torn, and you could sit here and say it's scripted. Well, me tearing my Achilles wasn't scripted. Or the things that happen at training whenever you're learning how to punch someone safely and someone's just wailing on you that's not quite good at it yet. It just happens. A guy did a normal from the inside to the outside plancha on me, caught him, he hit the ground, tore his ACL. Not, and like I asked a million times, I watched the footage a million times, like, what could I have done different? And he's like, brother, there's nothing you could have done. It just happens. And so for you to sit here, you know what's something that a lot of people don't realize, and I'm gonna say it. A lot of guys that you just watched that show, I bet you 80% of them are hurt in one way or the other.
I'm sure.
Something is hurt, whether it's their toe, their finger, their nose is broke, something, but wrestlers don't say it. They'll never tell you that because they want to keep going.
Right.
So all that you're seeing and everything, sometimes you're like, "Oh, he really popped him. Yeah, he really did, and he might have broke something." It happens. It's a part of the game, though, and I think that's why we love it.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. Kind of like when Tyson popped Michaels.
Yeah, and when he dropped him, really.
Like you can see Michaels laying on the mat just
What, like, yeah, like moving his jaw around and like moving his tongue inside of his jaw, yeah. And he got
Absolutely.
rocked. They thought they taught him.
yeah, and that's the thing to everybody. Those people who want to say it's fake, let's look at the surgeries. Let's look at these bumps these guys take. That crap hurts.
Yeah.
Here's my
I,
thing on it, though. Monday Night Raw. It comes on at 8 o'clock, right? On
right.
Monday nights on the USA Network. At 7 o'clock, the show 911 comes on. This is Eastern time. The show 911 comes on. It's a television show. Do you see anything on that television show and say, I don't believe they had a shootout at all. Those weren't real bullets. No, you watch it for what it is.
Yes.
So I don't
Absolutely.
understand why wrestling can't be the same way. Like, why is
Right.
it? At what point did they get on there and say, this is all real? Please place your bet on who you really think is going to win. Like, they've never done that.
Right.
So, like, for when people say, "Oh, it's fake, I can't watch it," then I need you to stop watching TV because even
Right.
a reality TV show is not as real as it looks.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's like,
I had a guest on the podcast months ago that said wrestling match is like a duet figure skating. You have your partner. There's ice. It hurts if you hit it. They throw them up. There's moves. They have to come down. You better catch them. If you don't catch them, they're hurt. And no one says
That's
that's fake. That's real. So we're just like figure skaters. We're tossing each other up. We're supposed to be catching. Got to land right. We got to protect them. And that's why I want to move into this next question. I think people got to understand. I know for a fact that wrestling's not fake. I understand that 100%. But that's where brotherhood is good at, right? That we need that brotherhood because if you're not brothers in the business, there's no trust. You
yeah,
got to you better you got to have a lot of trust, in my opinion, to do what you do. Am I right?
mhm.
if I'm gonna let a guy hold me upside down to suplex me and stall me in the air, I better trust him. We better have some type of something here for me to trust you, to trust a 200 and something pound guy to jump off the top rope on me and not squish me like a bug. Like, yeah, there has to be trust there. And it happens from time to time where guys take advantage of each other. They take advantage of the fact that they don't know each other. But you have to, I look at wrestling in the locker room as a fraternity. even if you're no longer a member of a fraternity, you're always a part of that brotherhood. So even if you're not a part of my locker room, this is a fraternity. So I hope when you do come here, it's the same thing it would be as if you were here all the time. And I expect everyone here to treat you that same way. They're a brother from day one because of those things. The trust, they have to trust me as well. There's a lot of
Mhm.
guys, promoters that will bring guys in that have a lot of success and then try to embarrass them for whatever reason. But I'm not that person to do that. But that there has to be trust across the board, from promoter to talent, talent to talent. Like there's a lot of trust. But I think it comes down to building a team and building a solid team to where you can turn to any corner and a person you trust is there. You
Okay.
don't have to try and figure it out. Oh, I think Johnny and Nikki get along. No, like everyone's good.
Awesome. Rico?
You know, and also like even if people don't get along so well backstage, as long as they can still kind of have that chemistry in the ring. When you agree on that one, where somebody might not get
There's
along backstage, but when they're out in that ring, they put together a hell of a show.
honestly, I would say some of my better singles matches were probably against guys that weren't my best friend, but we were professionals. And they were probably some of my better matches because there's no in trying to impress each other. You're strictly business, strictly professional to the task at hand, and it just comes out really solid. No one's trying anything new, no one's doing anything risky. We're just sticking to business, and it always turns out solid.
Now,
Absolutely.
so I'll ask you, like, is there a certain workout routine? Because I'm a workout guy. Is there a certain workout routine you do, kind of stay in shape?
Well, these days, the reason I retired, I have multiple sclerosis, so that's kind of took me out of the game.
Oh,
But back when I was wrestling, we were in the gym 6 days a week. And I also did some DDP yoga,
Okay.
which
I've
people never, I always tell people all the time, like when they're like, man, I want to get more of this or more of that. I'm like, DDP yoga, because I got so much body control to where I could bump and then stand back up on my feet as if I never fell over. So like it was because I could like pull myself. It's weird. It's weird to explain. I wish I would have never stopped, but MS doesn't allow for things like that. But I was very thankful for DDP yoga. It made me, that also helped me become a better wrestler for sure. Most definitely.
I've heard very good things about that because I have a lot of problems with balance. And they're like, man,
Yeah.
you try yoga or DDP yoga, that one is great.
Like I could like roll back up to the tops of my shoulders and just be straight up in the air, like feet straight in the air. Like it was, but it was out over time, but just, and I did a little bit at a time. Like I didn't go straight in and try to do the whole thing. I downloaded the video and I just watched a little bit at a time, got down, did a little bit until it all started to make sense and work out.
Gotcha.
So who's your closest friend in the business?
That's hard to say. That's hard to answer. Because honestly, it'd be my tag team partner, just because so he's been even before we started wrestling. He was my friend since like 2000, like something like
Uh,
that. So we've been friends that long, still to this day. I have people in Florida now. I'm getting close to. Very much that guy Nicholas Vick. I like that guy a good bit. He's all right.
uh,
And no, but I'm starting to get some friends around here. But I would have to say, all in all, my tag team partner, because I know no matter what, it's that tag team thing. I know he has my back no matter what. Like, no
uh,
matter what the situation, what I need him for, he's there.
I know a bunch of promoters down there. Nick Vick. I know some other ones. CWF promoter. And a
Hmm.
couple others down there. Do you ever reach out to those guys? And because you're a promoter yourself, this is like your second year, correct?
Yeah, you could say. Yeah,
Now, do you reach
last
out
year
to
was
those
a
guys for
tough.
advice?
I have mentor. I'm from Maryland,
Okay.
so I have promoters that I work for up north that I talk to a good bit. Um, when it comes to the Florida wrestling scene, I went to WWN for the first time this past Friday. Very nice show, very well put together, organized. Respect level is there. That's one of those. I walked in and I was like, this is one of those fraternities. They all trust each other. They all love each other. You could see guys going from room to room and talking to everyone in the room. And I was like, this is what it is. So I'm starting to get in there. I talked to Nicholas Vick. He's giving me a lot of advice, honestly. Um, for when it comes to a Florida promoter. Other than that, I really try to stick to myself. Because I just want to focus on ourselves. Like we don't. I don't want anyone to be able to say, "Oh, this guy did this for me." I don't want him to say, "Oh, he took this for me." I just focus on me and I do me. I don't try to attack anybody. I don't try to step on anyone's toes. Like I just want to do wrestling. That's it.
Just want to do it your way.
That's it. I just don't want to have any issues or any problems. I don't want to just want to wrestle. Whenever you have something like wrestling, when you have a passion for it, like I do, and I'm told you can't wrestle anymore, and then I find this avenue that is the closest thing I can get to, like promoting. I'm not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize it or cause issues for it. I just want to put on good shows and everything. We have a show coming up next Friday. Oh man, it's gonna be good.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but you mentioned WWN, and that's Francisco Chiazzo's, brand, and rest his soul.
Rest in peace to him. Yeah.
Man, that's a great guy. That's a great promotion. I heard a lot about your promotion from guys like Nick Vick, and I talked to many WWN guys. So, you're doing a good thing. I just got to tell you that people like your stuff.
I'm
Um,
trying. Yeah, I'm trying. I like to hear that. That makes me feel.
so, what are some key lessons that, even as a promoter in your second year, or even as a wrestler, that you've learned through other people?
I think honestly, the last thing I said from the last topic when I said I just really stick to myself
Okay.
because who I was growing up, I always was in everything. I'm like, you got problem with us? Oh, come on, that was me. Like, I always was in something, making Facebook posts, tweets, like, that was me. But like, my mentor Jake Davis, he's a West Virginia Elite Pro, excellent promotion. I made a status last year and it was about me how I'm going to take over and all this stuff and he's like if I was a fan and I seen that he's like I don't know if I would want to come see you cuz you think highly of yourself and you haven't done anything yet. And I'm like, wow. And I'm like, you know what, let me stop talking and just start showing. What do I got to talk for? What do I have to try to stomp people out for? If they get stomped out in the midst of what I'm doing, I'm sorry, but that wasn't my intention. But I don't have to say it. That's what I've learned overall. I don't have to say anything. I don't have to, you got to learn how to respect people. I think a lot of talent, a lot of time don't feel respected by promoters. And I say that from a place of not only hearing it, but being a talent before. And I think some promoters don't respect talent the way they should. So I always try to be that breath of fresh air for talent. A lot of times I hear like I've never had a promoter do this or say this, and like it breaks my heart because I'm like, it's nothing. It's not like I'm giving them $1 million check. Of course, no one's done that before. But I'm saying, man, that match was excellent. That was really good. They're like, wow, like I've never been told so straight. like that. Sometimes you need it straight. I know a lot of times wrestling's such a hard nosed business. You gotta be tough and you gotta grind. And I think a lot of time guys try tough love, but sometimes everybody needs a hug. And what I mean is by just saying, you did a great job tonight. Sometimes everyone needs that. So I think
You're right.
that's me. I don't sugarcoat, like I'm not, because at the same time at the same show I'm like, that was not good. You know what I mean? So I don't lie, but I think people need flowers from time to time
Yeah.
because we people have their own things they have in their head. And sometimes when someone says something else out loud, it debunks everything you think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
That's
agree.
kind of like knowing your audience when they say that is how
Hmm.
people are going to react when you say something. Everybody reacts a little bit differently, so you got to come at them in a different way.
I'm a people reader. So I know who I can walk up to and say that was good because there's some people you can't because now they're the most arrogant person in the room. But I give them a little dab, good job. But then there's some people that you can tell gave everything that they had and put on one of the top performances. And I look them in the face and I say, man, that was damn good. And they're just like, wow, no one's ever. Yeah, because I just remember being in their position at times, thinking, like, should I really be doing this? Like, am I really doing anything? And then having a Jake Davis come up and say, wow, you just knocked it down. And now I'm in my head beating on my chest. Sometimes you just need that.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
So, maybe this was asked earlier before I hopped on, but I always like to ask, who was your greatest impact and your like most influential?
Oh, I told him a little earlier, Rhino, because it was later in my career, really. It was in my last 3 years, but that was the best of me though. After Rhino, just how we went over the match and he explained to me why ideas weren't good, not even not good. It wasn't even that they weren't good. It was if we do this instead, that would make more sense. And he would explain it in a psychology way instead of I don't want to do that. It's like, well, when it comes to wrestling or the psychology of it, you wouldn't do that. You would do this. And then I watch the match back and I'll be like, man, I remember he told me not to do that, and I love it. Like he's such an impact. He doesn't even. I never got to see him again after that, and I always wish I did, because I wish I could have said, man, you really like in one match, like completely. Watch my matches before Ronda. Watch my matches after. I'm a different guy, completely different guy.
that's awesome.
Gotcha.
So before we go any further into wrestling, I do care for foster kids. They have some quick questions for you, man.
Sure,
So it's just basic, like favorite food.
spaghetti, like that's above everything. Spaghetti
All right.
every time.
So does pineapple belong on your pizza?
Never. Why would I don't want fruit on my I was
Come
gonna say fruit on
on,
my tomatoes, but I guess that's a fruit too, right? So I don't want fruit on my marinara sauce or my no.
All
No, how
right.
about this? I don't want cheese on my fruit. How about
Okay. All right.
that?
I agree.
gotcha.
Favorite book.
Oh, this is a very good book. Or a good question. It's actually by Gary Paulson, but I can't remember what it's called. It's about him being stuck in the like his plane like crash and he's like trapped on it by himself. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a three-parter. I can't remember. I hate that. It's been like 20 years since I read it, but I still love it.
All right. Favorite TV show.
Hatchet. Hatchet. My white Hatchet. I love that book. My
Okay.
favorite TV show that's not
Yes.
Monday Night Raw. No. Oh man, that's hard. Family Matters.
Okay.
You gotta love a Steve Urkel moment
Yeah. Yeah.
in your day.
Yeah. Favorite movie. That is my
Titanic.
day. Titanic. I'm so pissed
Titanic.
about
That
Titanic. I
I'm so,
so
what?
I went to the. I'm so mad about Titanic. I really am. It blew me away. I went to the museum when they were down. I can't remember where I was. We went through the museum, and I realized they told me that there was nothing that Jack was never on the Titanic. That was just a fictional character. I was so invested in that
Yeah.
movie. I was
Yeah.
like, what? He
No, it
drowned,
was
and
all. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, damn it.
They
That was
had to
for
make
the
it a love
drama.
story.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
for the drama. You don't want to hear about
What?
John who did nothing but stand there and count nickels.
I
Like you want to
guess.
know that
I
you don't
guess.
care about John with the nickels. You want to see Jack fall in love.
Right.
No, you
Michael,
know what
thank.
though? I don't know why I've seen that movie, man, probably hundreds of times. I
Yeah.
just like it. I just really like it. I don't know why. I normally don't like love stories like that, but for whatever reason, that movie always got me. That's a good one.
Mr. Bianco, thank you for loving the podcast. We appreciate you. Check us out on YouTube at Huge Pop Wrestling. Go, follow there and subscribe there. Follow at the Facebook too as well. Thank you so much.
But huge pop. Sorry, real quick. I just got to something about Titanic. I agree with Steve Harvey. What band you know is going to play when the ship's going down?
Right.
Oh, come on, man.
a band that's going down with the ship. That's one.
I just love
favorite sports team. You better get those right.
Dallas Cowboys.
No.
Oh,
What the
you're
heck,
killing
dude?
me, Smalls.
No.
Dallas Cowboys.
Detroit Lions.
Oh, come on, but I do like them. Like they're
Okay.
winning. They're winning me, but Dallas Cowboys.
All right. What's your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers?
Oh man. Okay, is this just overall
Yeah, overall.
or my favorite?
Your personal favorite.
My personal favorite, I would probably have to say Razor Ramon, Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, and that's my favorite. That's hard. I don't know because Undertaker.
Yes. You have to have
I
him up
hate
there.
saying Undertaker because it sounds so like, of course, but it's like I don't know
How do
that
you
guy.
not choose them?
Yeah, like
Right.
I always tried not to, and then I'm just like, screw it. But that's the first time I said it out loud. I'm a big Undertaker fan. I am. Always have been.
Well, Pittsburgh Steelers is better than the Cowboys. I'd take that any day, dude.
Oh, well, they just picked up Russell Wilson, so
Yeah, right. So there you go.
I was asleep. I didn't care.
So talk to us about Adrenaline Championship Wrestling with James Ellsworth. You did some work with them too.
ACW up in Maryland, definitely. That was a good time. You know, it's actually funny. The end of my tenure at ACW, we were their tag team champions, and then during that time, I believe it was 2016, Ellsworth went by Jimmy Dream. He was getting ready to retire. Like he was just like, you know what? I just don't think I'm gonna make it. Whatever. He's like, I have this spot on Raw soon. And he was like, I think that's just gonna be it. And it was the Braun Strowman. And to see someone who was about to hang it all up, and the next thing you know, guy's running out in the Royal Rumble. He's walking down the WrestleMania aisle. It gives me such a feeling of just never give up. Like you never give up because you never know when your moment's going to come. I know when he walked in that day, he probably thought, I'm going to make this good tonight because it might be my last time. And it got him a job. Never give up. And like I have so much respect for him when it comes to that because I know how much he wanted it, and to see him get an opportunity and turn it into a whole job, yeah, mad respect for him. But he was good. He seen us wild cards pretty early. He seen us very early in our career. So whenever it came around for us to be in adrenaline, he had seen the improvements and seen the upgrades we had made. We had been in the gym for years and a lot of training and stuff. So he brought us in. He gave us some good matches, tag titles. Ellsworth was good to us. He was, I have to say.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Bianco. We'll check you out definitely on TikTok. So
I'm trying to look that up too.
You guys did your research. I love it.
no problem, man. No problem.
He's like adrenaline. I'm like, oh my God.
I think I seen that promotion this last year in Jacksonville at the Taco Margarita Festival.
Yes, he's been doing them down here at the Taco
Yeah.
Margarita Festival. Yeah, I tried to do one, his first one. I think it was at the Tampa Stadium, and I was like, I'm gonna wrestle, and then my daughter got COVID. I had a MS flare up. Like it just wasn't meant to be. I was like, I'm just not supposed to wrestle anymore.
Right,
So I let it go. That was the last time I took a booking.
Rico, got anything?
So, who, in your thoughts, this could be any promotion. Who do you think has done the best promo, been the best on the mic that nobody can compete with?
Who's the best on the mic?
Best promo.
The Rock every time he talks.
But there was that one time when Cena ate him alive.
That did. I'll give Cody last night. His promo was really good. He wouldn't have did that if The Rock was in his face though. I just don't think so.
Yeah, I agree with that. He wouldn't have done it if Rock wouldn't have done what he did. Again, they talked to that. They talked about
if the Rock is standing across from him and he can't make those gestures to the camera, I just don't. I don't think it's the same. I just don't think it's the same. But it was a very good promo. I'm not trying to take away from it. Very good.
Absolutely.
Very good. But The Rock, there's no one on his level. Like he's on Pluto and everyone's back here on Earth. Like that's how far out there he is. In my book, this is my personal opinion. A lot of people disagree. I see people say he's not doing good. I think he makes everyone else look bad. So that's just my opinion. I've always been The Rock honestly should be on my mount. I'm just not big on his ring work. It's not that it's bad. I just think there's a lot more better. That's my personal opinion, though.
Well, if you look at it, like he just came back and the promos have gotten better.
And he's making everyone raise their game. You wanna go back and forth with The Rock. You can't just phone it in. You gotta bring it. Because if not, he's gonna eat you. So like, eat or get ate. That's it when you're working with The Rock. That's it.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like about Cody Rhodes' promo last night was he still uses those big words. I can't even remember the big word he used last night. I was like, no, why? Why are we talking?
Scumbulous.
Yeah, scumbulous. Why? Why you just tell him how you feel?
Because, but he then needs to get more. Explain it.
He needs to get more passionate. Understand. He needs to get more passionate, in my opinion. He needs to get. I don't know. Anyways, that's why Roman Reigns is going to win on WrestleMania Sunday. So
listen. We all know what's going to happen. So, well, it is about the ones, but Sir Rock there is going to turn on Roman, and that's going to build up for the next WrestleMania next year for Roman versus Rock.
I don't know, because sometimes with the current state of WWE, you have to look at it and say, is that too obvious?
Right.
Because there's times where it looks too obvious and it's nothing close. That's Triple H though. There's a difference. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times people forget we're not doing it Vince's way anymore. This is a completely different approach. So we're looking for the normal WWE formula. That's not it. That's not what it is anymore. Once people start to accept that, I think they will see that WWE rules overall. Go back to
Michael, be out.
SummerSlam 2023 when Triple H took over.
Yeah.
That event, Brock Lesnar forklift. When did Vince ever? When did
Right,
Vince
right,
ever? So like,
right,
you have to
right.
look at stuff like that and say, man, it changed immediately.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So fans are a big part of the business. Probably the most important part of the business. Would you agree?
I would say, yep, because we can say I can book whatever show I want, but if there's no fans out there, who are we doing it for? Each other?
Right,
We could have did that at training tonight. You know what I mean? So like, if the
right,
fans don't show up, they don't buy a ticket. That's why like whenever I do my shows, I try to give something different than you could get any Friday or Saturday night from any other indie. I try to change the formulas. I try to change the people that I use. Like one of my talents said to me, "This is one of the only shows that I've seen that doesn't have the Florida A list, but it's still fire." And I said, "That's because everyone here is going to become Florida A list, and that's my plan." I don't have a A list, B list, C list, whatever. But whatever everyone else thinks, everyone's going to elevate with us. That's how I
I
see
love
it.
it. So FWE is coming up with this show Friday, March 29th.
Friday, March
Fair
29th.
Frenzy. Can you talk about this? This what's going to happen at this show? What should fans expect?
This show is going to be absolutely. I think it's just one of those you have to watch the whole way through because that's one thing with my shows. There's not a moment where you're like, okay, on this one, I'm going to go get popcorn. You might miss something. That's just how I do it. But on this one, at our last event, Heart of Gold, February 24th, Fatal Four Way elimination match for the FWE Heavyweight Inaugural Champion. I would say about 30 seconds in, Bison Clutch gets knocked out. Legit. Knocked out. Remember that fake conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't planned. He legit got knocked out. So next Friday, I am doing the debut of the Wex Appeal podcast with Steven Wexler, who
Oh,
also does a podcast, the Wex Appeal podcast. But he'll be live, and we will find out what's next for Bison Clutch. How does he feel that Izzy Vaden is our new heavyweight champion and he wasn't part of the finish? He wasn't part of the whole match. We also have Izzy Vaden, our new champion. He will be taking on Cisco, who is actually from my old home promotion, Elite Pro, up in West Virginia. He's coming all the way down for a shot at the FW Championship. Can't wait to see that. I think that one's going to be, oh, it's going to be a good one. That's going to be a hot main event for sure. And then we cannot forget NWA's own Ruthie J will be in the house. She'll be taking on Raven Knight in one of our marquee matchups. I think the FW Women's Division is starting to come together, starting to show itself. Ruthie J was here with us last year, so this is a return for her. We have a lot of other things. Hound Dog, Rafael Gonzalez, the Florida vet, he makes his FWE debut against Cowboy Kid Andrew Mitchell. A lot of things going on. I can't sit here and say that there's a single match that you are going to want to miss. Every match has a twist, a turn, a surprise, and you don't know. You don't know. And I think FWE soon is going to be turning into that place of you never know who's going to show up next. There's a lot of surprises in store for sure. For sure. Next couple shows, a lot of surprises. A lot of people that you all know will be showing up in the Empire. So
all right.
so I think it's going to get exciting and I think it's going to start showing you where we're going. There's a
And
lot of interest in Florida Wrestling Empire from I would say from a lot of the industry, from indie to used to be big time. I've talked to multiple former what insert company talents today that are interested. So big things coming for FWE. Don't miss it. Next Friday night, it's at the Inverness County, Citrus County Fair grounds. It's like the biggest fair in the state. They said there's gonna be like 30,000 people that come through there. So I hope some of those people come through our show. It's gonna be really, really good time. I really look forward to it. I really look forward to getting to show everyone again what FWE has. This isn't it. This is just another step in our journey.
So I know that we're working together, Mr. Page, on Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast, doing some stuff with, having guys on the show and stuff like that. I know we have Izzy is on the 22nd, I believe.
Yes.
And
Our
Bryson,
FWE heavyweight champion, Bison.
Bison
Clutch.
is on the 26th. So
Yes.
excited about
Yes.
that. Can't wait for
Those
that.
are. You will actually be getting. This is just for you guys. You guys will be getting the first words from Bison Clutch since he was knocked out on Facebook Live. Like something told me before the match started to go on Facebook Live, and he got knocked out, and everyone's seen it. And like people been trying to get trying to get interviews with him and stuff, and he was trying to hold off until the fair. So I don't know how much he's gonna give you. But he give you a lot of career stuff. But when it comes to what's going on FWE, I don't know what he's got because you can't really get nothing out of him right now.
Right. Well, I hope that our relationship grows further other than just those two. I hope we can get some more guys like the guys you mentioned. I hope we can get them on the podcast too. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
So,
I know for sure. Let me see here. After the April show, I will get our surprise guests. I will get them to come onto your podcast the following week.
Awesome, man! I appreciate
After,
that.
so it'll be
Thank
like
you.
the first week of May. I will, and it's a good one. So I
Well,
will. I got you.
We'll talk weekly, man. I know that I email you. I hope that's not too much, but I will do that
No,
continuously.
I'm here for it. Anytime you guys need anything from me, anything I can get to you, anything, I am here to work with you guys. If you ever want to do a part 2, I am here for that
Absolutely.
as well. I'm here for anything.
Absolutely. Not done yet. Not done there. There's a couple more things I
But you're
want to ask.
not done yet.
Rico, you got anything else?
Actually, for some of us over here in the Tennessee area, how would I be able to watch your show?
So, very soon, we will be starting to film for Genesis TV, which is on Roku, Amazon Fire Stick. Like, you can download. It's an app and it's a channel on some of them, but we'll be on there. I do know there will be a couple things on Facebook Live from the Florida Wrestling Empire Facebook page. That will be
Okay.
going live the night of the show. It'll probably be like the main event, stuff like that. Kind of get people to see, you need to be here because this is good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's definitely. So to check the FWE page, show starts at 7. I do know the opening will be on Facebook Live. I do know that. So tune out at 7 o'clock. It will be on Facebook Live. They'll probably pop on there a couple more times. I'll probably do that for a little bit until through the shows until we get the Genesis thing going, just to get awareness.
Okay.
Because we get a lot of attention right now. Like it's crazy. Like my videos, I remember a couple weeks ago, it would take me like a week or 2 to get 100 views. I put up a video earlier, it had 100 views in like 15 minutes. Like it's insane. Yeah, it's insane. Like I'm not used to it, but like I'm enjoying it, and I'm very humble, very humble.
All right, 2 more things for you, man. We got this guy, Josh Breezy. Is he one of your guys?
That's one of my guys.
Man, he's going to be at the River City WrestleCon in St. Augustine. I'm excited about that because Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast has a vendor table there as well. I don't know who Breezy's with. Maybe he can stop in the table and say hi. We'll have to work something out like that, man. I'd love to meet the guy.
I got you. What date is that?
It is. Let me pull that up again. June 8th and 9th. I'll be a vendor table there. Yeah.
Could Josh Breezy be the South Atlantic champion? He does face at Kairos next week for the title. Who knows?
Who knows? You heard it here on the Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. Who knows? But
Who knows?
The last thing I want to ask you a question is, last year, March 18th, yesterday was the 18th of March. March 18th, 2023 was a year since the first FWE show. And you were asked, why no anniversary show? You remember being asked that question?
Oh, yeah.
And I think your response was, I just feel like that first year was a trial to get our feet wet, figure it out. But this year is already starting off as great and can't wait to see what's up next for us. Lord knows I love professional wrestling with my whole heart. I was crushed when I had to hang the boots up, but putting all that passion I had into this Florida wrestling empire will live forever. So with that said, with that comment I just read that was straight from you, what can you tell the fans what to expect of FWE going forward? There doesn't necessarily, like you said, why have an anniversary show when, let's just go on. What can you say? Close the show with that. Tell people where to find your stuff. I will place the music, but don't go nowhere. You and Rico stay in I'll talk to you in the green room. Go ahead.
Last year there was some shows that were planned that didn't come to be for one reason or another. I won't point fingers. I won't blame anyone. They just didn't come to be, and for one reason or another. And this year, just the people that I have around me, the places that want us. I feel like last year I was trying to fight to make it happen, and now I have people like the fair saying, "Hey, come here." So I feel like this year is going to be a lot better. I made a lot of mistakes last year that I didn't know. I'm booking these shows like it's WrestleMania. Just booking all the guys, didn't care how much it was, didn't care, putting them together, egos flying everywhere. Everybody wants to be the best, like just trying to go with a strong attack of, I'll just make a better card than you and I'm gonna win. Doesn't work. Too many egos, it just doesn't work. I absolutely love my roster right now. I think my roster has those types of fans that follow them no matter where they go. I've seen it. I've seen people at my show also be at WWN. And I'm like, these people are following these guys no matter where they go. So whenever I have a solid fan base like that, I have the support of the fans and my roster. Sky's the limit, really, because I never thought I would do any of the things that I did when I was actually working. I never thought I was going to get to work the Bullet Club. I would never even had a dream about it, So anything is possible. Anything is possible with FWE, and that's just what I say. Trust that this year is going to be much better than last year. It's already starting off that way. This will be our first time having 2 consecutive successful shows. Cross my fingers. So we're already breaking records.
There you go.
So that's why it's already looking good this year, So, I'm very excited for this year, for sure. Definitely excited this year.
Awesome, man. Well, there you go. It's Eddie Page from FWE, Florida Wrestling Empire. Thank you for your time this evening. Thank you for the wealth of knowledge that you shared with us and all your stories.
Yes.
Rico, you have any last things you need to say?
No, I just appreciate your time, man. And once again, sorry about the lateness on my half.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast with another Pops World Order. And I again appreciate Cody Wilson in the back, playing our stuff, watching it, uploading our stuff to YouTube. Man, it's been a crazy 2 years for a Huge Pop Wrestling podcast. And again, 2024 is going to go through the roof. I know it.
Here we go.
Lots and lots planned. We got FWE on board now. We're going to be part of their stuff. Let's keep on the lookout for Florida wrestling. It's exploding. I never thought. I mean, we got some Tennessee stuff, some Missouri stuff. Keep on the outlook. It's Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. It's for life, and we are out.
All my dogs, make some noise up in this house.
Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the grind. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your ass is knocked out. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the grind. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your ass is knocked out. Fight with Adrian Whisper is like a fight with the devil, because when he's dealing with you, you cannot get on this level. Fight with Adrian Whisper is like a fight with a king. It's like a fight with an army. They got the tanks and everything. He's leaving bruises and stitches, possibly leaving you crippled. Cause when he sets up the table and sends you straight through the middle. 6 sadistic free, beat that ass with a light bulb. Leave a piece of glass embedded in the back of your skull. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the ground. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your ass is knocked out. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the ground. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your ass is knocked out.